Warning, playing FPL is highly addictive. It may cause stress, a loss of free time, a resentment towards friends or colleagues, and a dislike to football in general. Please, FPL responsibly.
Hey guys, and welcome back to FPL TV. With the FPL game now finally launched, I'm sure you've all started building your squads for Game Week 1. I'm also sure though, there's been plenty of cases where you can't quite afford the team or player that you want, and perhaps need to find that extra 0.5 million of your budget from somewhere else. That's where this video comes in, because today we're going to be looking at 4 bottom-of-the-barrel £4 million budget defenders that could potentially end up being starters in FPL this season. Will you give these players much playing time in your FPL team anyway? Well, probably not. It's more than likely they'll be left to sit and rot on your FPL bench, as do the majority of budget options. However, in some cases, if one of your starting players gets injured or rotated, then it's always handy having cheap backup on your bench that actually plays, rather than having a player that never gets minutes. I also use the word potentially because the majority of these players will need to secure moves in the transfer window first, before they become viable FPL options. So let's dive straight in. The first £4 million FPL defender that could potentially be a starter come the Game Week 1 deadline is current Liverpool backup centre-half Nat Phillips. Nat Phillips spent the second half of last season on loan at then Championship club Bournemouth, helping them to secure promotion to the Premier League. Understandably, Bournemouth are now looking to re-sign Phillips, whether that be a loan or permanent transfer, and if that does go through, he has a very good chance of being a £4 million starter in FPL, so certainly one to keep an eye on. The Cherries signed Phillips on deadline day of the January transfer window last season, and with 18 games of their campaign remaining, Phillips started 17 of them, showing that he was thrown straight into the starting lineup and kept his place. Notably, he also played 1,530 minutes during his time there, which shows us that in these 17 appearances, he played the full 90 every time. As a centre-back, unsurprisingly, he didn't offer much goal threat during his spell, but it is worth noting that Bournemouth kept the most clean sheets of any club in the Championship last season with 21. So at a minuscule £4 million, should Nat Phillips make his return, he could provide us with an unexciting but reliable backup option. The next £4 million defender that could end up being a starter in FPL come Game Week 1 is Neko Williams, another player from current club Liverpool. Once again, this will depend significantly on whether or not he secures a move away in the next few weeks, but importantly, as I'm producing this video, a move to Nottingham Forest looks very close to being done. Should that move go through, Williams for me could be a very exciting £4 million option this season. Much like Nat Phillips, Williams also went on loan to the Championship in January last season to eventual winners Fulham. He had a solid impact, making 14 of a possible 18 appearances, and notably in that time managed 2 goals and 2 assists in just those 14 games. Not bad going for a right back. A stat that also really jumps off the page here too is his average shots per game at 1.4, and only 4 players at Fulham bettered that average, and they were all forward players in Mitrovic, Carvalho, Cabano and Wilson, clearly showing the attacking intent that Williams offers. What I also really like about this move to Forest in particular is that one of their most important players from last season, Jed Spence, notably their previous right back, looks to be signing for Tottenham now, therefore leaving that right back position available, and surely therefore making Neko Williams first choice and pretty much nailed on to start. It's also known that manager Steve Cooper is one for nurturing young talent, and does have a very good history of coaching that position specifically, with Jed Spence flourishing last season, and with Connor Roberts during his time at Swansea being turned into one of the best wing-backs in the Championship. If Neko Williams does get this move to Forest, he'll surely be a strong consideration for my starting team, one to keep on the watch list at the very least. For the final 2 £4 million defenders, sadly no stats worth showing here, only due to their significant lack of playing time at club level over the past year. However, both still worth putting on the watch list to keep an eye out for during pre-season. First up is Everton and Scotland international Nathan Patterson, so here's what you need to know. After spending his youth career at Rangers, the young right-back was then given a run in the Rangers' first team, whilst the ever-present captain James Tavernier was out injured. He impressed during this short spell, which earned him a call-up to the Scotland national team, for which he's now already made 10 appearances. And then in January of this year, Everton signed the 20-year-old for a reported fee of around 11 million. They handed him a 5.5-year deal, so clearly then-manager Rafael Benitez saw him as a potential long-term replacement for the ageing Seamus Coleman. Sadly though, following the signing of Patterson, Rafael Benitez was then sacked as Everton manager shortly after. Patterson was therefore reduced to only under 23 appearances, with the club citing that he needed more time to adjust to the pace of the Premier League before handing him his debut. To add to his misfortune, in April, just a day before he was about to be handed this Premier League debut, he then unfortunately picked up an injury which required surgery, and that kept him out for the remainder of the season, so he's yet to make a first-team appearance. Now back to full fitness, however, and ready for pre-season, Patterson is certainly a player to watch out for during Everton's friendlies this summer. Seamus Coleman will be hitting 34 in October, and there's a chance that Patterson may break into the first team, so one to watch at 4 million. The final 4 million defensive option in this video is actually a second Welshman, and that's Tottenham's Joe Rodon. It's been a frustrating 2 years for the Welsh centre-back since making his move to North London, with him being reduced to only 15 league appearances. With the superb performances of Christian Romero at Tottenham last season, and now with Clement Langley looking to be on his way from Barcelona, clearly Conte isn't convinced on Joe Rodon, and his chances of breaking into this Tottenham side look very bleak. Despite the lack of football at club level over the past 2 seasons though, he has been excellent and a stalwart for the Welsh national side, helping them to qualify for a first World Cup in 64 years. The reason I think that could be key in him becoming a starting 4 million defender in FPL is that considering he'll want to stay match fit for the upcoming World Cup now, surely he'll want to secure a move away in the next few weeks, and that may be something to look out for. So that's 4 £4 million budget defenders that could potentially be starters for us in FPL this season. But for now, we'll have to see how things develop over the next few weeks. The transfer window and pre-season friendlies will certainly give us more clues, but hopefully this video has at least identified a few players to add to your watch list before Game Week 1. Neko Williams certainly looks to be the pick of the bunch, with his impressive attacking numbers and his move to Forest looking ever closer to being completed. If you enjoyed the video, then as always, please help the channel by leaving a like and most importantly getting subscribed to FPL TV. Don't forget as well to hit the notification bell so you'll then be notified immediately when new content goes live on the channel. I also recently uploaded my first attempt at building my first FPL squad for the new season, so if you didn't see that one already, you can do so now by clicking the thumbnail shown on screen. FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all very soon in the next video.